Guys, it is me, Parkzy here, your coach of the Armada. We're back to Smash today here for DGBA week number 0, aka Team Recap. We're going to be going through our Season 7 team. Finally, we are firstly uploading onto the channel again, and another DGBA season has returned. The last season was around summertime in about August, July, sort of that time, whereas this one is going to be taking place in November. So a bit of an update. Basically, why I haven't been posting for the past 2 months is because I felt a little bit burnt out after YouTube. My laptop actually hasn't been crashing since, so it's not even, I can't even blame it on my laptop crashing, because if you guys don't know, from season 4 and I believe a little bit of season 5, that was the main reason why I just couldn't be bothered uploading some things, is because my laptop was crashing. But season 6 was completely fine. It's just I just couldn't be bothered uploading Pokemon and recording, and it just felt like more of a hassle than something that I would actually enjoy doing. But we're going to be going through our team today, as I previously mentioned. One thing I also want to say is that my friend RattataMen, you guys might have remembered me, him. I did say that he did help me out in my TTM Summers Showdown team that I did upload. That was my previous upload to what this video is going to be. He did help me out with quite a few of those teams. He also was in the SDL with me, and I did actually play him, but he has got a league, and I know a lot of people that are going to be watching this are from DGBA, and he has got an idea to set up a league. So if you do want to message him, go and DM him on Discord. I'll leave probably a link to a Discord name down in the description in case you aren't in the DGBA but you do want to contact him. I'm not entirely certain what it is going to be, but it's going to be containing anywhere between 8 people to 64 people, so it's going to be an absolute madness. So if you do want to get some more information out of him, even if you just don't want to join, if you want to spectate or just get some information in general out of him, then I will leave his Discord name down below. And if you're already in the DGBA, he is a D1 coach, so just go into that and you should be able to find him pretty easily. Now, I do want to show you guys our team sheet on Google Docs, because it is looking pretty fire. I did spend a good bit, probably about, I don't know, 20 minutes, which I guess isn't really a good bit, but just sort of just playing around with colors. And I think it looks pretty cool, because we just got this all in black and white and I had to recolor it. But anyway, we're going to be going through for the third time now our team. If you do like and if you do enjoy our return to the YouTube scene, please do like, and if you haven't already, consider do subscribe, because I will be uploading these every single week on Saturday. I don't believe week 1, however, because we are having a 2-week break just to break us into the season, and also week 5 will be 2 weeks because it'll be 2 weeks because it's going to be taking place during stuff like Christmas and also New Year's and things like that. I think that's all I have to say. And okay, so season 7 is a little bit different to what the previous seasons were. So the previous season, season 6, was tiered, whereas we're going back to what it was like in season 4 and season 5, whereas points. However, there are a lot of new Pokemon that were added to the season, stuff like Landorus Incarnate with new restrictions, Psychic Surge Tapu Lele, Deoxys Speed, which had a few restrictions, Protein Greninja with a few restrictions as well, Aegislash unrestricted, and stuff like that. Sorry also if you can hear some buzzing outside. I believe that my dad's doing something outside, but I really couldn't find another better time to record this video, but it's going back to the season 4 and season 5 thing, just with a few more overpowered Pokemon. So I was actually placed 3rd, because finally people were like, okay, Parkzy knows how to draft an 8th, let's give him a different spot, and they gave me 3rd, which is very nice. So my spot was actually for once randomly generated, but there was 3 picks that I wanted. I either wanted Tapu Lele, Tapu Koko, or Protein Greninja, and the 2 people before me, MX3 and Jeremiah, I was like, okay, so at the worst, 2 of those is going to go and I'm going to get the other one. So MX3, he goes ahead and picks up Aegislash, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'm going to pick up Protein Greninja, and then I can pair it up with stuff like Jirachi, and it'll be very good. And then what happens is Jeremiah comes in after I don't know how many hours and just picks Protein Greninja, and then they're like, well, okay, screw you, Jeremiah. So then I decided to pick up Tapu Koko, and I know that I could have picked up Tapu Lele, but Tapu Koko, if you guys do not realize, was in my TTM Summer Showdown team, I absolutely love using Tapu Koko. It's such a good Z user, which it actually is going to be, and all Z users will be indicated by my Normalium Z. I believe a third of my team this season are going to be Z users, which is going to be very nice for mix and matching Z users and stuff like that. Because if you guys know from my Summer Showdown madness, I had Tapu Koko as my Z user, but I believe I brought it only with Z about half the times. Other times I brought it bulky with stuff like Taunt to stop Aurora Veil, and I believe I brought a choice variant another week. But this Pokemon can do so much. It gets access to defog, so that's already good. Has removal off the bat, Volt Switch and U-turn, so that's my Volt Turn core straight off the bat. However, usually you don't want Tapu Koko just to be your U-turn and your Volt Switch. You usually want to have another U-turn at the very least alongside it. Then also you have got reliable recovery with Roost, utility in Taunt, ability to set up with stuff like Workup, Calm Mind, and for those people that are going to be making fun of me for potentially using Workup Tapu Koko this season. Firstly, I believe I used it in the Showdown, but that was round 2 and I got hacked and I didn't feel like uploading that. Second of all, I used Workup Sceptile last season and it worked pretty well, so yeah. But this already gives me an electric type off the bat. It gives me a very fast Pokemon, base 130 speed, so I don't really, if I don't want to, I don't have to pick up nearly as much speed as I would have to if I picked up, say, a base 100 or something as my first pick. So that's going to be super nice because I can get the jump on teams that only go up to like something like base 115, say for example. And it also is a fairy type, so I can make this my, it's like Magearna last season basically. It can be my only fairy on the team, but I can also have another fairy on the team, so that's just keeping my doors open while also allowing me to have a lot to work with in this one pick. So yeah, Tapu Koko, super happy that I got it, and it does form some very nice cores with some other Pokemon. So picked up Tapu Koko. It was 18 points. That's the highest points you can actually buy stuff for, and I decided what would be my next Pokemon. Now, last season I picked up a Mega Lopunny round 2, and I really liked it, and I've started to get into the groove now of picking up more higher tier Megas earlier on in the season, sorry, not in the season, in the draft, because I do enjoy using pretty high. Yeah, okay, I do enjoy using some pretty high costing megas. Sorry about that, I just wanted to make sure that my music was playing in the background, which as you guys probably know it is, but I haven't actually been playing it that loud at all. So I decided to pick up Mega Charizard X for a couple of reasons. First reason is because one of the main switch-ins that I found to Tapu Koko were grass types, so I think that synergetically it works really well Charizard X, because I can U-turn on the grass types, or I can even get a Stab Volt switch off and the Electric Terrain off, and then I can bring in my Charizard X, which does not care about almost every single grass type, if not all grass types in the format. And fire off, of course, some stabs. This Pokemon gets some very scary setup moves. As obviously its signature Dragon Dance being super scary, as well as the fact that it does have access to Swords Dance and Belly Drum. But Dragon Dance is usually what you see, and you acknowledge this Pokemon as a threat it is in the format. However, I could be bringing some fun Swords Dance variant, or even Belly Drum variant. You never know. It is Parkzy Prep. So we'll have to see. The second defaulter on my team, however, probably isn't going to be removing the rocks, because regular Charizard does take 50% from Stealth Rocks, so that is going to be a little bit of an issue, and probably why I won't be bringing Defog. But it also is a Dragon type, so that is going to be 2/3 of my Fairy Dragon's Steel Core down, only leaving the Steel type left. And also there's a Fire type. You guys know that I love offensive Fire types. I got Victini in Season 5, although it didn't do as much work as I hoped it would. I did get some pretty good games out of it. I got Darmanitan in Season 6, which I absolutely loved, and Season 4 I got Delphox, which I also thought was a very good Fire type as well. In the TTM Summer Showdown I got Infernape, which I liked as well. So far my streak of getting Fire types have been very good. They're just such great offensive typings, and I know what people are saying is that ground types are going to be a bit of an issue, but I feel like there's more grass types that get recovery in terms of synthesis than ground types. Then I can just chip down the ground types as well. So then I got these two, and I was very concerned about what my next pick would be. I wasn't sure whether to round out my offenses by picking up something like a superior, or whether going a bit more bulky. And I decided to eventually go with the bulk and pick up Tangrowth, which is one of my favorite, if not my favorite Pokemon to use in OU. Even then, when this Pokemon fell down to B+ viability, I was still using it. Now look at it, it's like A+ viability or something strange like that. Well, not strange actually. It's again, it's a very good Pokemon, but it's just crazy this Pokemon just keeps on bouncing up and down in terms of A's and B's. But this Pokemon is pretty much renowned for just being able to not die in any one hit. It's going to be very hard to try and hit this Pokemon with an unboost, or knock out this Pokemon with any unboosted hit in terms of upping your attack or special attack. The most common set, of course, being like physically defensive Assault Vest, and that Regenerator is super nice, being able to recover 33% of health. Then also you have got the knockoff utility, which is going to be super nice, as well as the fact that this is a bulky grass type and the ground types are going to very much struggle breaking through this Tangrowth. This Pokemon also gets a very large move pool and actually respectable attack and special attack stats, being 100 and 150 respectively. It does get access to things like Rock Slide, Earthquake, Power Whip, Giga Drain, knockoff as previously mentioned, Poison Jab. It also does get I already mentioned knockoff, but stuff also like Focus Blast, and it also does get quite a few options for recovery. It gets access to Leech Seed, which is going to be nice in case I want to try and pivot into something, then I can get that, some recovery. And it also does get Synthesis in case like I feel like running a physically defensive Tangrowth leftovers or a Rocky Helmet, and then I can just start synthesizing up. But that's really Tangrowth in the team. It is going to be sponging the majority of the ground type attacks, but I feel like it was better than an offensive pick like Superior, just because Superior can't really take the ground type attacks. Plus also I feel like I should be investing a bit more into bulk, plus Superior costs a few more points, and with me spending nearly, oh gosh, what is it, it's 18 plus, I don't know, was Charizard 16 or something. I spent about 40 to nearly 50 points on my first 3 picks, so that was a little bit of an issue, because I was definitely splashing my cash, as people might say, and definitely for my next 3/4 picks, people can tell that I definitely did not learn my lessons. The next Pokemon that I picked up was Latios, and I know what people are going to be thinking, why are you picking up another Dragon type from Charizard X? But it has actually encouraged me to pick up Latios, and especially how he used the Latios Mega Charizard X core in last season. I just had to pick it up. It's very nice because the main switch-ins to stuff like Latios is of course Steel types and Fairy types, which Charizard X for the most part can be able to Dragon Dance up or threaten out with its Fire Stab. But Latios, one of the best defogers in the format, which is great. Again, if you're going to be pairing it with the Charizard X, you do need great hazard removal. That's kind of a contract you almost have to sign if you're going to be picking up Mega Charizard X, as well as the fact that this Pokemon has been previously used by me way back in the SDL season 1, which is over a year now, but I absolutely love that Pokemon. By far was my MVP, although Talonflame was cool as well, but we haven't drafted Talonflame, so I digress. But this Pokemon, it can do so many things. It can set up on the physical or special ends, although it does only have a base 90 attack. It can come as a niche Dragon Dancer 1 or 2 games. It does have that ability to Calm Mind, as well as recovery in Roost. The Memento that it also does get is going to be very nice, especially if I want to get free switch-ins to say something like Charizard X, where I do want to get up some Dragon Dances and hopefully sweep my opponent. But this Pokemon's move pool is absolutely giant. It gets Bolt Beam, Energy Ball, Earthquake, Draco Meteor, Psychic, and it also is a pretty bulky Psychic type. It's a nice mix between a bulky Psychic type and an offensive Psychic type. Really depends on what I want it to be. And I did use Latias in the Summer Showdown as well, which although I didn't enjoy as much as Latios in the SDL Season 1, I did enjoy its typing, and that is something that it shares with Latios as well. So with these 4 picks, I was looking pretty good. I was like, okay, right, so what do I need now? And I was looking down what was I going to say? I was looking down the tier list, the price picks, sorry, and I was trying to see what Steel types were left, because Steel types, as you would probably learn from any person with a bit of draft league experience, are few and far between. There is only a handful of very good Steel types in the format, and once they go, you're going to have to, before you know it, pick up something like a Bastiodon, which I believe was actually 1 point in this season, which actually, to be fair, isn't that bad value, especially if you consider the 1 pointers as literally anything in LC or NFA. But I decided to pick up a steel type that I thought that would give me a lot in terms of my team. Synergizes very well with my team, but also in the terms of on offensive scale and also a defensive scale, it also gives me that priority that currently I am lacking. I believe that my only priority is Laddie. Okay, right, for some reason I thought Laddie was got Sucker Punch, but I don't think I have any priority on this team, and if so, very little. I think it might just be restricted to stuff like Quick Attack. But I decided to pick up Scizor. And as you guys know from Draft League format, Scizor costs quite a few points, and it also is a very high tier mon, meaning that yeah, I wasn't looking too well in the points department. I believe I only had about 40 points left, and we started off with like 123 or something along those lines. So I'm pretty sure I was the person who spent most of their points. I had the lowest amount of points after round 5. And basically, you might think that I was drafting an OU team, and that's because I kind of was. I was like, okay, let's just pick up all these Pokemon that are either in OU or can go into OU tier, and let's just try them out. But Scizor, of course, a great Pokemon, also a very good defogger in the format. Has fell off a little bit as a defogger in the past year or two, but we have got the option to defog if we do need it. We have got Momentum in its U-turn. There is also Baton Pass if I want to. It also is known for being a super scary threat. The fact that it can SD, it has got that priority Bullet Punch, which is Technician boosted, so it's 60 base power, which is one of the strongest one of the strongest priority moves in the game, being a Technician boosted Bullet Punch. And I also do have reliable recovery with Roost. So every single one of my picks thus far, in fact, 4 out of 5 of them have Roost, and Tangrowth does have Synthesis. So that's going to be very nice because, as you guys may or may not know, one of my preferred playstyles, or the preferred playstyle that I have, is Bulky Balance. So it is very nice to know that all these Pokemon on my team do get recovery. I'm also bridging that gap between the Charizard X and the Tangrowth a little bit by getting this Scizor, because it is base 65 speed. So we have got a 130, 100, 110, 50 and 65, so the gaps are slowly starting to bridge. Of course I do need something probably between Scizor and Mega Charizard X, as you are going to see from our next little member. I like my choice of words by saying it's a little member, because it's definitely not little, but you'll see from our next pick that we try to bridge that gap. But Scizor, of course, being resistant to, I believe, 8 typings in the game, and only weak to 1, which is fire, which makes it a very nice core with Mega Charizard X, because of course Mega Charizard X 4 times resists fire, and Mega Charizard X also, its weaknesses can also be offensively covered by Scizor in terms of rock. Scizor does have that priority Bullet Punch and stuff along those lines, so that it is nice to have Scizor. It's also nice to have our steel type that isn't weak to fighting, because so far our fighting resists are Tapu Koko and Latios, which are good fighting resist in a sense, but they don't want to take too much damage, especially if they are going to be offensive, and because Tangrowth is my only wall thus far. But we have got you know, we've got Scizor, and again, a Pokemon that I used back all the way in STL Season 1 for about 2 weeks until I dropped it, picked up Excadrill. So yeah, it's going to be fun to try out Scizor, definitely. I have used this Pokemon quite a bit in UU. Unfortunately, he isn't going to be my Z user, so I don't get stuff like that Vitinium Z or that Buginium Z. But it's still quite a good Pokemon, especially because in Draft League format it is more than often a choice banned user. But with these 5 Pokemon picked up, I know I said that Scizor is a very good Pokemon because of its bug typing. It does resist fighting, but unfortunately it doesn't get Stealth Rocks, and it being a steel type that doesn't get Stealth Rocks is very annoying, especially for my team, because I was nearly halfway through my draft and I did not have a Stealth Rocker yet. Also, I do want to clarify that this draft took place where you could take Pokemon between anywhere. You could draft a team of 9 Pokemon to 12 Pokemon, and so I could have been halfway through. I could have been I could have only had 4 picks left for all I know, so I definitely needed to pick up a Stealth Rocker, or at least consider picking up a Stealth Rocker. So I decided to pick up Mamoswine. Sorry also if I'm stuttering over my words, I haven't had anything to drink in forever, and I just felt like recording now, because there probably isn't going to be a better opportunity to do it. Also, I should be doing interviews next week, so yay for that. But Mamoswine is a Stealth Rocker. It is also here we go with the memes, a good focus slash user, with also that base 130 attack stat, as well as it's having one of the best dual typings in the format in ice and ground, being able to break so many teams, and that definitely applies for the teams this season. I wanted to draft Mamoswine for so long. It's such a good Pokemon, but unfortunately it's either been taken from me. I believe I wanted it in season 4, but I had to pick a Piloswine instead, which I still loved. I believed I almost brought Life Orb Piloswine one week just because it had such a good offensive matchup. But Mamoswine giving me a little bit more priority with that Ice Shard, which is super nice, as well as giving me the Stealth Rock, as previously mentioned, 2 good dual stabs, and that base 80 speed tier, which does fit in quite nicely between the Scizor and the Charizard X. Another thing that might not be as much of a criticism as many people do believe it to be, but it kind of annoyed me in my season 5 team, is that Mamoswine is not weak to bulk, can take bulk beam because of its thick fat, which it more than likely is going to be bringing every single week. That means that I can take ice type attacks. It is originally neutral, but then because of thick fat it is resisted, as well as electric being immune because I am a ground type, and also I do get the ground typing, which is going to be nice in case electric types try to abuse my electric terrain. Mamoswine being a very bulky Pokemon with what, base 110, yeah, base 110 HP is definitely a very fat Pokemon, especially if you invest into that HP stat. We also have got some other nice little niche things such as Endeavor, Stone Edge, in case there are Pokemon that like bulky bug types that try and take Mamoswine's attacks, as well as stuff like that. And the next Pokemon that I decided to pick up probably wasn't the best Pokemon, I'll admit. On my team it doesn't really work synergetically in terms of, yeah, as I said previously, synergy doesn't really work the best with my team, but still, it's just a Pokemon that I love. It's just a Pokemon that I can bring every single week and just live every single hit and just do whatever with, and that's Umbreon. And you guys know that from the TTM Summer Showdown Madness, this thing is amazing. It 1v1 to Mega Gallade. It was so good in this season 6 of the DGBA, which unfortunately viewers of this channel didn't get to see unless you were a coach in the DGBA. Then you got to see how I 1v1'd the man himself, Jack Drafts. I 1v1'd a Mega Diancie with a Iron Tail Umbreon. This Pokemon's amazing. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. It's one of my fastest growing favorite Pokemon. I absolutely hate this Pokemon. Well, I used to hate this Pokemon like in season 5. Just because my only other experience was using it in just regular showdown, regular Pokemon Showdown, laddering and stuff like that, and this Pokemon isn't very good, are you currently? But it is a good cleric, having the ability of synchronize to reflect things like toxics and burns back at opponents is very nice. So in case walls try and toxic me, I can toxic them back without having to use a move. I can also heal Bell it off because Umbreon does get access to that. It also gets access to Wish, which is super nice because if you do invest into its HP stat, I can get some very heavy wishes, which I'm sure Tangrowth and stuff like Scizor will definitely appreciate. A bit more of momentum in terms of the Tom Pass. This Pokemon also does get Pursuit, as well as Scizor. I previously forgot to say that I wasn't so sure about getting a Dark type, so Scizor being my Pursuit user, as well as having that Technician Pursuit would have been nice. So I got 2 Pursuit users now, as well as an actual Ghost Resist. And as you guys probably have seen from my first 6 picks, that was definitely something I was concerned about. I was like, oh, Ghost Spam versus my team isn't fun, so I'll pick up Umbreon, which can definitely take those hits, as well as a threat and potential Ghost types out with Pursuit as well. I am a very big believer of your Dark type should have Pursuit to definitely threaten those Ghost types, even though it might not use it most weeks. It's just nice to have it on there. But yeah, Umbreon, there's really not much to say, just that it can be a very good physical wall, it can be a very good special wall, as well as Tangrowth. So I think that not even in terms of a typing perspective, but just a bulk perspective in general, this and Tangrowth form a very good wall core because Umbreon can pass wishes into Tangrowth. Tangrowth can just not care and stuff like that. It can also heal Bell in case my Tangrowth gets toxic. Let me try that again. It can heal Bell in case my Tangrowth gets toxic or something like that. I really should have brought a bottle of water or something with me, but oh well. I'm basically halfway through this halfway, if not more than halfway through this team recap anyway, so I might as well. Also, there is some other cool things that this Pokemon does get, such as Curse and of course Foul Play to stop setup sweepers in their tracks. We also have got another Pokemon that stops setup sweepers in their tracks, but it deserves its own special shout out. So the next Pokemon I decided to pick up was Hitmonchan. Again, I'm a big believer of that you should have a fighting type on your draft. I can't remember what draft I have. I believe it was, yes, it was PBA, where I didn't have a fighting type in my team, and I absolutely hated bulky normal types. So I am glad that I managed to pick up this pretty cheap Pokemon. Some people might consider it an Unmon, but I think it is still a pretty good Pokemon. It does have a pretty decent attack stat, as well as the fact that it does get Iron Fist boosted stuff like Iron Fist boosted attacks such as Drain Punch. Which is going to be nice for having its recovery, as well as just dealing a good amount of damage in general, as well as the fact that this also does get a priority. It gets Bullet Punch, which I can see. It also does get Mark Punch. Sorry, just had to check that, even though I've used this thing in PU countless times, so I should probably know that. But again, another very good Sylvest user, a very reliable Rapid Spinner, not in general, but just in general of being a low tier Pokemon. It is probably one of the more reliable Rapid Spinners you can get in terms of tier 5 or 6 or below points, which this Pokemon did cost me 6 points, which I thought was a pretty good bargain. So it also is a very good Pokemon. It does have the special defense stat that allows it to take a hit, maybe like a Moonblast or something from a Pokemon. So that means that I could run potentially a bulk up Hitmonchan, because then +1 defense and it's the special defense stat, I could be able to take a hit. Nothing much really to say about this Pokemon outside of PU. I'm absolutely clueless to this Pokemon. I've seen it obviously used in Draft League format, but I've never used it personally myself. So hopefully it isn't a case of Hitmontop where it's like, oh, some matchups it's good, some matchups it's not, I can't bring it. Hopefully there is going to be some matchups where I'm like, okay, Hitmonchan can do work, I can get up a Rapid Spin, and hopefully it can be a reliable Pokemon. Thus, we're hoping. Also, it is my Z user. Didn't really have any reasoning for being my Z user except that it just added up to 30 points, Tapu Koko being 18 and this being 6, so that is 24 out of my 30 Z user points, and none of these except Tangrowth and Umbreon, which are horrible Z users, were below the 12 points that I had left to invest into my Z users. But this Pokemon can run some pretty cool Z moves, as well as the fact it can set up with Bulk Up and stuff like that, so it can run stuff like Steelium Bullet Punch, Fire EMZ Fire Punch, the Fightinium Z Close Combat or whatever. So that might be nice in case I want to bring in an offensive Hitmonchan and try and catch some people off guard with this Pokemon. And I did use Z Sceptile to catch people like Gengar Raichu with his Mega Mobile off guard in previous seasons. So yeah, I mean, don't sleep on Z Hitmonchan, that's all I'm going to say. But next up is a Pokemon that I absolutely loved, Levity. I hope that you are proud of me. We got Quagoat, we got him, there we go. Quagsire was a Pokemon I used in the, what's it called, the Terminus Battle Factory League, the TBF. To be fair, it was a while back. I'm sorry, that's the only joke I'm going to make of this entire video. But this Pokemon does have the very nice ability in Unaware. I believe if this Pokemon didn't have Unaware, it wouldn't be used like at all, because Gastrodon is a thing, but it does have the Unaware, which allows it to just look a setup streamer straight in the eye and be like, I don't care, I'm a Quagsire. It also is a very nice bulky water type, which Jeremiah could be scribbling down in his books and take a page out of that. And it also does have recovery in terms of recover, of course, but it also being another ground type is very nice, because Mamoswine being the only ground type, if I did want to run as an offensive Focus Sash user or a offensive Life Orb user in general, it probably wouldn't be able to take too many hits from electric types in terms of stuff like Hidden Power Grasses. And although Quagsire can't take Hidden Power Grasses, at least it is another ground type and a Volt Switch deterrent for electric types, as well as the fact that even though this Pokemon, that them two are weak to Hidden Power Grass and are weak to Grass types in general, Mamoswine does have a secondary typing, an Ice type, which does completely blow back Grass types, and quite a few Grass types are bulky Grass types, so we'll be sore of the Mamoswine. And even if they're not, they're going to be taking a lot of damage from my shard, that means. So there we go, problem solved. Quagsire, it does get a few cool things. It can be an infestation trapper, it can exchange toxics with a couple of Pokemon, it can be a curse Pokemon as well. a few other nice niche things such as Encore that it does get. I think I even saw a Rain Dance variant. Levity has used this Pokemon in OU in terms of 100 ways to use Quagsire. I'm not sure what episode he's on now, but good for him. I believe he's even used this thing in Trick Room. So yeah, just to show off how diverse Quagsire is. But I love this Pokemon in the TBF. It definitely is a pain for people to prep for, because again, setup sweepers have to deal with this Pokemon, and they have to have ways to try and knock out a Quagsire so that they can actually effectively and efficiently set up, as well as the fact that Quagsire and Scizor form a very good defensive core, because Quagsire is only 4 times weak to grass, which Scizor is 4 times resistant to, and Scizor is only weak to fire 4 times, which Quagsire does take. It does take them time. It does take half the damage, plus also it does have dual stabs to threaten it out with. Skull is always a very nice move. It's one of the most broken moves in the game because of its 30% chance to burn. So that's really all I have to say about Quagsire. If I missed something, I'm sorry. Levity, don't kill me. But then the problem arises that I have one Stealth Rock user, and that is Mamoswine. And if I want to run something like a 4 attacks Mamoswine, that's going to be an issue, because then I won't have a Stealth Rocker on my team. So I decided to pick up a Pokemon that not only was a good Stealth Rock user, but was also another Flying Resist, which I was noticing might be a bit of an issue for my team, because Tangrowth is going to be a crucial component, since the team definitely taking the ground type attacks, taking the rock type attacks, and stuff like that. So I definitely needed to draft a bit more around Tangrowth and make sure that its flying weakness and its stuff like its poison weakness as well was kept to a minimum, than that we could have a very good switch to that, as well as the fact that Tapu Koko wouldn't constantly have to be coming in with flying type attacks, and that I wouldn't have to be running something like a Roost defensive Tapu Koko, so I could take something like, I don't know, 2 Air Slashes or 2 Brave Birds, 2 Hurricanes, and just to try and check a flying type Pokemon that otherwise would have been able to break through my team. But we have got Regirock, which is going to be just not caring about flying type attacks, especially if they are on the physical end, because this Pokemon's immense 200 base defense. It also is a Z user, so you might not be expecting it, but I will potentially be bringing offensive Regirocks, which is so cool. I'm so hyped to be using offensive Regirocks, because it does get set up and stuff like Rock Polish as well. It's a very good offensive stab and rock, so Continental Crushes can do a lot of damage, especially if it is something like a Stone Edge, and it is invested. Because this Pokemon doesn't really have the worst attack stat, it has got base 100 attack, so it can do a few things, as well as the fact that it can be stuff like Curse as well, Rest Curse with Edgequake or something like that. It also does have quite a big move pool, just from a quick scan you can hopefully see. But we have got a secondary Stealth Rock user in the team, which is nice. That doesn't put all the pressure onto Mamoswine. That means Regirock can actually do what it needs to do and be a wall some occasions and set up Stealth Rocks. It's probably isn't going to be a Pokemon I'm going to be bringing every week. I'll fully admit that now, but when it does come, hopefully that I can put in a bit of work. I did see this Pokemon. This Pokemon isn't drafted often, which I don't really. I do understand to a certain extent, but I think that it is quite a sleeper Pokemon. I think that its offensive stab and its defenses, and the fact that it does just get Stealth Rocks in general, and that it usually is a very low tier pick, just warrants it being hopefully a bit of a sleeper pick, and hopefully I can show off this Pokemon like I have shown off a few tier 5s Rapidash in the past. But we've got Regirock now on the team, and for 5 points I am definitely very happy with it. And this leaves my final 2 picks, and for this I had 4 points left, and I decided to pick up 2 Pokemon that I thought that actually provide a lot of utility to the team, and that also give a lot in their typings, and also that I can actually see bringing more than the one game, or I can actually see not being on the bench the entire season. So the first Pokemon that filled this criteria was Ariados. Now, Ariados is good for 2 things. Firstly, it's more than 2 things, but we'll make it up as we go. So the first thing that this Pokemon gives me is its poison typing, which is very nice, which means that Scizor isn't my only fairy resist, because a lot of teams, the fire type can resist fairy type attacks as well, which means that there isn't a crucial need for poison types in the team. But since we have Ariados that is a secondary check to poison types, meaning that Scizor doesn't always have to take all the fairy type attacks as well. Another thing that this Pokemon also gives me is a T-Spike Absorber, as well as also giving me a Pokemon that can set T-Spikes. So that's going to be very nice for chipping down teams for stuff like Mega Charizard X, Latios, Tapu Koko, Scizor, Mamoswine, you name it. It definitely appreciates the help from Toxic Spikes. Even my Rock Polish Regirock will appreciate that. Also does get a little bit of momentum that I'm just seeing right now in Baton Pass, so that's going to be nice as well. It does give me a little bit of priority with Sucker Punch, and of course what this Pokemon is renowned for is its ability to set sticky webs, and being one of the least costing sticky webbers out there in the format. I believe it also rivals Shuckle for that title, and Leavanny, and maybe Crooked Shun, even though it has like no moves. But Ariados being able to set up sticky webs, also being able to set up Toxic Spikes, having a little bit more utility as well. JJ was telling me quite a lot about this Pokemon. I was like, okay, Ariados seems pretty solid, you know, sticky webs, poison jab, and then he was like, yeah, that's what you think Ariados can do. That's good and all, but it can also do all this stuff as well. So Sniper is also a very nice ability, as well as Swarm. It can be another Focus Sash user. Again, very good Focus Sash user. Always like my Focus Sash users. And I can get off some pretty powerful bug type attacks because they can be sashed, and then I can get the swarm boost and stuff like that. But nothing much really to say other than this Pokemon's definitely going to be helping out the rest of my team in terms of setting up sticky webs, so that Charizard X doesn't have to necessarily set up a Dragon Dance. They can just completely go to town and just fire off Flare Blitzes. Sticky webs plus Mamoswine is a very scary nightmare combination, whatever you want to say. Mamoswine under sticky webs, no one wants to play that. Then there's also Tapu Koko as well, which will definitely appreciate the sticky webs. And Toxic Spikes is just nice for wearing down Pokemon into range of stuff like a Scizor's Bullet Punch if I want to go for that, or if I want to go for a win with a Mamoswine Ice Shard, or a Hitmonchan Mach Punch, or just a Tapu Koko, just clicking moves in general. So the final Pokemon on my team is a Pokemon that costs 1 point. So I could have named my pick, but I decided that this Pokemon actually brings a lot to the table. It brings me a second Ghost type answer. It also gives me a Pokemon that has Stealth Rock, so it's my third Stealth Rock user. It can be a Wish Passer, it can be a Scout, and that is Wigglytuff. Also is my final Z user, so 18 plus 6 plus 5 plus 1, that equals 30. There you go, there's a GCSE Maths coming through. And this Pokemon also does get Frisk, so that means that I can scout it for items, and I think that a lot of people will agree with me when they say that Frisk is a very good ability, even underrated ability. It's what I personally believe to be one of the top 10 abilities in Draft League format, because you can scout out a Pokemon and you can see, I'll say for example in the case of Scizor, so that I don't give anyone any other ideas, so I don't say a Pokemon that someone else has and they're like, oh my goodness, I'll bring this as a defensive variant in terms of the Frisk item checking, and then I'll actually bring it offensive or whatever. But let's say I'm going against a Scizor, so first turn my opponent sends out Scizor, I send out Wigglytuff, I can scout and I can see that that's a Choice Band Scizor, I know that's not Nasty Scizor, I know that, say for example, a Pokemon can take 2 hits from this Scizor and then threaten it out, then that's very good. Whereas if it is a leftovers variant, I can say it's a bit more of a defensive Scizor. It might be the defogger of the team. It probably isn't going to have as much attack investment. I can go out into maybe a more offensive check and stuff like that. Sorry, I don't know what's happening to my mouth anymore. Then again, no one does. So this Pokemon, it's got a very nice HP stat. That's really the only stat that's going for it, but for 1 point I'll happily take this Pokemon. And the HP stat is nice because it does give me a secondary Wish Passer, which means that Umbreon can be, does have the availability to be a Curse user if I do want it to be. But Wigglytuff, it does have a very nice move pool. It does have stuff like Flamethrower, I believe, Energy Ball as well. So just a huge amount of options that this Pokemon does bring to the table, as well as the fact that I can basically reveal an entire Pokemon set just by scouting out the item, which can be very nice. And as I said previously, another Fairy type, always good in the team. Another Dragon Resist, because Tapu Koko and Scizor might be a bit more offensive every week, so having that third Pokemon that can take Dragon type attacks might threaten people from bringing their Dragon types versus me, if in terms of just team preview, not even team preview, just in terms of building for me, seeing another fairy type, a steel type, another fairy type, and 2 dragon types. But that's basically gonna be me. Sorry that this video is a bit weird. It's been my first recording in about, I don't know, 2-3 months. My voice is absolutely dying. I'm gonna have to get a drink after this. But if you did enjoy, please do leave a like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments. Firstly, if you do like the team, if there's any other changes that you would make, I will consider them. And second of all, if you do want to join my front office, I will be bringing ideas to the front office. And if you do want to help me team build, then please do either put it down in the comments or message me on Discord. Most likely message me on Discord, but if you don't know what my Discord name is, then just message me in the comments. We can work something out. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, then if you do enjoy these types of videos, then also go onto the channel, check out some of my previous videos. I have done other leaks in the past, and I think that some of the explanations that I do are quite good as well. Some of the brings are quite fun as well. But this is going to be my first ever. Not my first ever. This is going to be the first ever video of DGBA Season 7. Hopefully I will be recording this entire season, as long as there's no laptop malfunctions or I don't end up doing something weird, then that'll be it. But thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.